Hello everybody, this is General Snivy, and welcome back to more of the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition playthrough. Last time, we made our way through Galahad Fortress, reunited with Fiora, and we kind of fell like 6 feet under. Well, more or less. Even so though, we took quite a nasty fall in the last session. But it seems like everything is back to normal as of right now. However, Fiora is kind of... well, she's kind of busted. Anyway, in today's session, we're going to be grabbing whatever we need to fix her. So, in the last session, we were informed that her immune system's kind of malfunctioning due to the fact that she was converted into a face unit. So, in today's session, we're going to grab the parts that we need to fix Fiora, get her back up on her feet, and everything should be right with the world as we get ready to have some fun. Also, Sean, PRK, thanks for the host, dude. I appreciate it, and I do know that I know that you just said that you're on your backup account right now. Honestly, it's pretty important to keep it's important to keep your information of login details written down somewhere, whether it be on a piece of paper or if it's stored on your computer somewhere. It's a good idea to keep that information, as you never know, you may end up forgetting something important, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to remember absolutely everything, especially if you use a lot of different sites. So, one thing I will mention here is, just before today's stream began, I decided to add a noise gate filter to my microphone via OBS Studio, and I'm going to see how this works. And the reason why I am doing this is because, well, I kind of have my fan running, and also I kind of want to see if this will make things a little bit nicer when it comes to professionalism. I mean, I'm kind of using default settings when it comes to the noise gate. So, there is the default thresholds that are being there. Okay, I don't even know what the heck I'm trying to say. I think what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to shoot. I think when it comes to my microphone audio, I want to see if I can improve the quality, even if it's just a little bit. It might not be much, but it's better than nothing. So, one thing I will mention here is I didn't adjust anyone's levels yet, and the sole reason for that is because I want to wait until everyone comes back together before I readjust everyone's levels. So, I think once I get everyone back together, I'll level everyone up to level 60. Just to round things out a little bit, and to prepare for the road ahead. Oh boy. Okay. Honestly, from what I've noticed when it comes to monitoring the mic audio, and just the values set by default when it comes to the noise gate, it seems to be working relatively well so far, so that's pretty nice. Anyway, in order to get the part we need to restore Fiora and get her back up on her feet, we've been told that this sort of part is located somewhere on this beach over here, which is not that far of a trip, all things considered. And they also mentioned that this part is easier to spot at night, but it's still possible to find it during the day too. So, at the very least, you won't have too much trouble finding it. even in the original Wii release, it might still stick out like a sore thumb. Granted, I have not played the Wii version of this game in years, and really, you shouldn't go back to the Wii version after you've purchased this version of the game, which is the definitive version of Xenoblade. Just saying. Thank you, Shulk. There we go. So another thing I will mention here is that I will also be tackling a couple of side quests as we're encountering them, but I'm mainly going to be focusing on the main campaign for a little bit, until we reach a certain point, which is relatively soon. We probably won't be reaching it in this session necessarily, but I do know that we'll be reaching it soon enough. I could have swore that there was a unique monster around here. In fact, I think it is still around, it's just flying at a different part of this place. Or it's coming at us now. Fantastic. Great. Well, this won't be too bad. Funny enough, this thing is at level 58, which is pretty interesting. Looks like we're going to have a little bit of a workout here today, which this shouldn't be too bad. We'll definitely have to wait and see. We'll probably take it down relatively quickly. Thankfully, this unique monster really isn't much of anything to speak of. I think it has slightly higher stats than the typical enemy around this place. But other than that, though, it's just a regular, old, everyday Mechon. There we go. All done. That was awesome. Alright. Let's see what we got over here. Doesn't look like it's anything much. I mean, we got a fairly decent number of treasures, but doesn't look like it's anything valuable, unfortunately. Anyway, there's the unit we were looking for. Okay. Funny enough, when you get your hands on this particular part, you don't go back to the first area or the hidden village. Not right away, not unless you choose to go there. Before I head back, I kind of want to explore just a little bit and mark a few more landmarks around this area, and more or less mark a few more fast travel points, which that won't be too difficult. Also, if you couldn't tell, I changed around everyone's equipment again, just for a change of pace. And when I say change around everyone's equipment, I mean their cosmetic equipment. Not their actual equipment setup, as their setup currently is actually quite solid. Okay. Oh, hi, how you doing? There you go. Sit down, son. There we go. Need Melia and Dunban to act the party. Interesting. Alright, we can work with that. Eternal Scars. Dunban, I don't know how to ask this. What is it, Melia? The man in the metal-faced Mechon, Munkar, I think. Were you and he acquainted before he became that thing? We were comrades in arms. 1 year ago, he and I risked our lives fighting the Mechon. But when the battle turned, he chose to make a run for it. So he was a cowardly man. He was always fairly unreliable. Deep down, I knew that one day he'd fail us in a time of need. But in the battle a year ago, he still seemed to be on our side. What do you mean, Dunban? Are you saying he wasn't always the monster he became? Whatever his reasons, that day he was fighting off those machines as hard as we were. That is difficult to believe. I know the truth. That's why I'm so full of regret. Maybe I could have stopped him. You mustn't blame yourself. You could not have stopped this. Perhaps, but it's complicated. I can't deny that he was a bit of an unreliable fellow, but he saved my life countless times. After I took up the Monado, there was a definite change in him. He was taken by its power. I pity him. I just wish he'd realized. I wasn't the true heir of the Monado. Shulk was. He never should have had a reason to hate either of us. Dunban. Mumkar, I doubt I'll ever forgive you for what you did. But I'll never forget you, and I hope you can find peace. Aww. That's pretty sweet, considering how much of a monster, Munkar became. Just saying. It's rather interesting that, Munkar had a bit of humanity in him. Even so, that's still unfortunate that, he just turned into a monster. What else can you describe him as? Anything but a monster.
Welcome.
What seems to be the problem here? Oh dear. That doesn't sound good. Oh my. Sure, that won't be a problem at all. Perhaps she is one of those people that has multiple quests tied to her. We'll definitely see soon enough. Too funny. Okay, I guess it's just the one. Where are you then? Excuse me. Oh my, I have no idea what I just burped up. But, whatever. Dude, can you please get out of my way? Thanks. How'd it go? Did you find a unit? Yes, I did. Here you go. Time to fix up Fiora.
I think we found it. Is this the piezoelectric unit?
Yes, that's it. Well done.
Leonardo, will Fiora be okay now?
She'll be fine. It will just take me a little time to reconfigure and install the unit. Leave it to me. You get some rest.
But...
Shulk, do you want her to see you looking exhausted when she wakes up?
You're right. I'll try and get some rest. Thank you for everything you're doing.
By the way...
Yes?
The chief says he wants to speak with you. I think it's about Egil.
I'll go and see him. He wants Egil stopped. And so do we. But I need to sleep on it.
Good. You mustn't overburden yourself. We will help you in any way we can.
Thank you.
Alright. Well, that seems pretty simple enough. Let's go and get some rest. Might as well, I mean, it was a fairly decent trek to find the thing and also beat up some Mechon. Let's go ahead and take a rest now, shall we?
How are you? Sleep well?
Yes, very well. I wanted to, talk about your son.
Have you made up your mind?
Yes. We agree with you. Egil must be stopped. But we can't act now.
Oh? Why's that?
Before we came here, we heard of plans to form an allied force on Bionis. Any day now, they're going to launch an attack on Mechonis. But it's too dangerous. Egil has made a weapon that could kill us all.
The weapon that Mumkar was using? The one that shoots green fluid?
He said it can decompose any being from Bionis.
We have to go back and warn them, before it's too late.
Hello there, Dixon.
Well, you could always ask me to do it.
Dixon! What are you doing here? I can't believe you found us.
Why? This place is directly below the fortress. If you fell from up there, I figured you must have ended up here. And Bob's your uncle.
Ha!
You're looking well, Dixon.
Ah, I see you're looking like your usual old self.
You know each other?
Kinda.
I scratch his back. He scratches mine. He tells us about the outside world, and we give him technology and information.
Why did you keep that to yourself? That information is vital to all who fight Mechonis.
Not all of us Homs are good people. What'd happen if the Mechonis-hating types found this place? These Machina cut themselves off from the world to get away from pointless fighting.
So they escaped to live in peace. Somewhere they wouldn't be seen. Makes sense.
Agreed.
Little crown princess, ain't ya?
So this is where you obtained all that stuff you brought back to Colony 9. I wondered where you were getting it from.
I thought it was fine as long as it helped Shulk out at the lab. I guess the secret's out now. So, that weapon. How dangerous are we talking about?
I haven't discovered why, but it disintegrates anything it touches. But only if it's living tissue from Bionis.
Bet that would come in handy.
Dixon!
I'm only joking. Anyway, for now, just don't let any of it touch you. I'll come up with something to counter it. Leave it with me and I'll keep you posted. You lot go and take care of that eagle or whatever his name is. You take him down. The Allied force might not even be needed.
Okay. Let me think about it for a bit.
Okay, why do you need to think about this? I mean, it's pretty obvious, isn't it?
Fiora.
Ain't made your mind up yet?
Dixon, listen.
Dunban told me all about it. The goal of your mission. So, you wanted to avenge Fiora.
Yes.
But you found her alive. And now you've got her back. So, you're all done now, ain't ya?
What are you fighting for, Dixon?
Me? He just gets right under my skin. That Egil guy.
Because he's trying to exterminate the Homs.
There's that. But that ain't everything. It's his hatred for the Bionis. Or more like his aim to wipe out everything that lives on the Bionis? I'll tell you one thing. That Bionis allied force is coming together quicker than I thought.
Really?
Yep. That high-end tier prince is really moving things along.
Will they launch an attack on Mechonis?
Of course. But it looks like the prince has got another plan. He gave me a message for you. When the allied force attacks Mechonis, you don't need to join the fight. He wants you to take advantage of the chaos and do what it is you need to do.
Prince Callian said that.
I was pretty surprised too. He looks like a sissy, but he's got guts.
Yeah. I think that's the type of man he is.
So, what are you gonna do? He wanted me to let him know.
We're going to the Mechonis capital.
You're gonna take down Egil?
I don't know. I can't forgive the Mechon for what they've done. But after listening to Mechon, I think there might be another way.
You're too soft.
Do you really think that?
Too right. He's the self-proclaimed leader of Mechonis. I heard about what he did to the Monado. If you face him, it might get eaten up. But you have to throw everything at him, even if there's only a slim chance of winning. Hesitate for 1 second, and you're a goner.
We won't let Shulk die. Not ever.
Hello, Fiora. Glad to see you're up and
Are you okay to
moving.
be walking around?
Yep. I have to hand it to her. That Lenada's pretty good. And not just with machines. She's also quite familiar with organic physiology. You went to get the things you needed to cure me, right? I'm sorry I caused all this hassle. But I'm fine now. I'll be by your side, fighting to protect you. No matter where we go, no matter how difficult it gets, Shulk will do the right thing. It doesn't matter how slim our chances. Shulk will always stick to the right path.
And don't forget, it's because of Shulk that we are all here, fighting together. I think that shows he has a strong character. Am I wrong, Dixon?
Well, when I think about everything you lot have done, I can't deny that.
Dixon, we're going to the Mechonis capital. About the Allied force.
Yeah, leave it to me. I ain't gonna let anything happen to the colony. Those Mechon won't get away with anything else.
Are you going?
Yes. Thank you for all your help.
You might run into someone called Vinaya in the capital. Just mention my name, she'll lend a hand.
Vinaya?
Is she a Machina as well?
She's my daughter. She won't be far from Egil.
Hold on. You mean she's Egil's sister?
You've got it, lad.
And you say she'll help us?
The girl doesn't want to hurt Egil, but she doesn't like what he's doing. She should be a big help to you young'uns.
I don't know why she'd help us, but we'll try and find her when we get there.
Good luck.
Fiora, don't forget, I've only made temporary repairs. I think you should be able to fight, but don't overdo it. Come and see me the moment you experience any further system failure.
I will. Thank you.
In the meantime, I'm hoping I'll find a way to restore your former body.
Is that possible?
Theoretically, it might be possible to use your genetic information to regenerate your missing organs. Sorry, it's unfair for me to give you hope. To be honest, there's very little chance. But if there's even the slightest possibility, I'll have to try.
Thank you, Lenada.
Fiora.
Don't make that face. Okay, let's go.
Off you go, kid. I'm counting on you and the Monado. Don't let me down, Shulk.
I wonder what Dixon means by that. Regardless, hooray! Fiora's back on her feet and everything is hunky-dory.
Why did that face betray me? And that light? No, that is not possible. It must have been remnants of memories from her former life that made me lose control. Memories. They are what limited the potential of Metal Face as well. I now know that I must erase every last trace of what they once were. All my servants need is the instinct to fight. This Hom's female. She was with the boy who wields the Monado. A light of her memory. It shines strongly in this one. Bring me face 20814. So it is this male. The boy Shulk remains a thorn in my side. I will enjoy watching my minion crush him. Be still, my servant. I see that your memories cause you much suffering.
Well, what do you know, folks? Gato is alive as well. No, seriously, it is heavily implied that is Gato inside of that particular Faced Mechon.
Shulk, take this.
What is it?
There's a path leading from the base of Digit 2 to the foot of the Mechonis. This is the security key to the door that seals the path. We who live in the village don't have any need for it, but it will be invaluable to you.
We're in your debt, Linada.
Shulk, Fiora, take care on your journey.
We will.
Linada, thank you for everything.
Alrighty. Our objective is quite clear, folks. It's time to raid the inner workings of Mechonis itself. So, this is gonna be a fun day. Let's see. You know what? Let's just bring out Charla. And Fiora and Shulk. This ought to be a pretty good combination. And at this point now, let's go and level everyone up to level 60. Why? Because 60 is a good round number to be at. And to prepare for the road ahead. Besides, several enemies around here are still around level 58, level 56, or something like that. So, that's cool. Alright, time to get started. But first, before we go, let me make sure, yes, everything's good. Alright, just wanted to be sure that, wait, where the heck am I going? Yeah, interesting. Looks like there's a quest inside of Junks, and I didn't even realize this was here. Alright.
Yes?
Yeah, please tell us more. Okay, that shouldn't be too difficult. Alright. So, to get to where we need to go, this is going to be a bit of a trek as well, just like with the last trip. However, this is going to last way longer. How exactly? Well, you'll soon see what I mean. And this is the reason why I wanted to mark that fast travel point at the beach earlier on. Well, more or less at that particular landmark, just so that way... There you go. Sit down, son. The reason why I marked that landmark earlier was so that way we can get over here a little bit faster. If that wasn't obvious. Sure, I also could have marked that bridge right there as another landmark. And honestly, I probably should have done that instead, but oh well, it is what it is. It's not that big of a deal. Also, I'm not 100% sure, but I think by default, Mechafiora is able to damage Mechon-based units with just her base equipment, or just any form of equipment whatsoever. Though I can't say absolutely for sure if that is the case or not, but I feel as though she can damage Mechon no matter what, just like with Shulk and his Monado. Just saying, though.
Okay, let's go. I don't want anyone dying out there.
Leave this to me!
We can definitely do this. You're mine. Spear of faith!
Okay. Sit down, son.
Piece of cake!
We make a great team.
Kind of unfortunate that I didn't get the quest item I was looking for, but there's still plenty of opportunities to get what I need.
I feel like I could beat anyone. Nothing's stopping you, Fiora. Final crash!
We can definitely do this! You're not invincible. Milano!
Sit down, son.
Feel the weight of your existence. I feel stronger. You're mine. Final precise. Let's do it. Shala, great.
Wow. Bringing in quite a large number of enemy units over here. That's kind of concerning. Although this should still be perfectly fine. Most of the enemies around here really aren't that menacing to begin with.
I know I can. We can do it.
Everyone, let's go!
Double wind. Your history.
There we go. All done.
Let's stay.
That sure took a bit of time, but at least the deed is finally done. And I did not mean to pick up absolutely everything from that particular chest. Oops. Whatever, it's not that big of a deal.
Don't get careless. Okay, let's sort this out nice and quickly.
Don't get careless, guys!
The Monado's light. Double wind. Your history. Double blade. Everyone ready for a chain attack? Ready to go. Let's finish this together.
Okay? My turn! Shala, go for it!
My turn.
Okay, that wasn't too bad of a chain attack. Although it wasn't exactly desirable.
I'm gonna go all out.
I mean, it still worked. But even so, not exactly the best of results. I was kind of hoping that the chain attack would last a bit longer to wipe absolutely everyone out, but alas, you can't win them all.
We make a great team.
And honestly, when it comes to chain attack and the number of times you can use it, I feel as though it is very heavily reliant on RNG, if anything. But,
Do it. Don't let a single one escape.
I mean, it's not that bad. You can still influence the RNG values of executing multiple chain attacks within the same chain by increasing the affinity between party members. Other than that, though,
Single one escape. Okay.
that's really the only thing that can increase the chances. And also skills and skill links. That is something else that could help with increasing the chances of chain attacks extending further and further. In fact, speaking of skills, I have not really gone over skills very much at all in this playthrough so far, mainly because I've been waiting to get my hands on Mecha Fiora before we could even discuss it in greater detail, because of spoiler reasons. So, here we are. Let's go ahead and grab everything we can here, and I guess I'll start going over some of the skill tree information. So, when you're earning SP, depending on which skill chain or skill tree that you're working on, all SP goes towards that particular skill tree. Until you max out that particular skill tree, any additional SP that you gain will be wasted unless you immediately switch over to another skill tree. Now, when it comes to skill links is very interesting, as depending on the shape and also the skills acquired by particular party members, they can link with other party members and obtain their skills. There are some additional details of different skills. I believe the orange skills means that is always active, so long as that person is in the active party, at least I'm pretty sure. Blue ones, maybe I'm thinking the opposite. I haven't really used the skill links all that much, but they do have different meanings when it comes to the shapes. I do know one thing for sure, and that is the diamond that are surrounding certain skills. They are exclusive to that character and that character only. So Fiora, or more or less Mecha Fiora, has a bunch of skills which are only given to her and her alone. So in other words, no matter who you select, you cannot link those particular skills with Fiora at all. So there's that. I believe that the 3 persons within a given skill means that so long as that person is in an active party, then that skill will always be active. I can't really say absolutely for sure, as, again, it has been a long time since I even dove into the skill tree, and honestly, it just requires a lot of explanation and a lot of experimentation as well. So if you ever wish to know more about skill trees, feel free to look at the tutorial on skill trees. It's actually pretty extensive, and honestly, you really should take a look at it. Speaking of which, here we go, skills. Okay, skills continued. This is where I need to take a look at. So, a blue icon means that skill is always active, and orange means that skill is only active when the character is in the battle party. As far as other icons, the one-person icon means that it affects that party member with the skill, whether it be linked or not. 3-person icon means it affects the party members in battle. All icon, which is a very rare icon to see, is that it affects the entire party regardless if they're in an active party or not. So, yeah, that's basically the skill tree in a nutshell. All in all, when you're working on skill trees and trying to gauge the amount of SP in order to level up a particular skill tree, the higher you go up the skill tree, the more SP is required in order to complete it. And the most SP is required for your first initial 3 skill trees. As far as the other skill trees that each character can receive, each character can have up to 2 additional skill trees tied to them, and these are awarded upon completion of certain side quests. Thankfully, the remaining skill trees, more or less the optional ones, these don't take anywhere near as long to complete as compared to the 3 primary skill trees. So for Mecha Fiora, we have Daring, Courage, and Zeal. these require a metric shit ton of SP in order to complete each of these 3 skill trees. However, when it comes to other skill trees such as Innocence and Rashness, these don't require anywhere near as much SP to fill these up completely. Hell, you may even finish these without even realizing it. It's the reason why it took me not too long to complete the Cowardice as well as the Heroism skill trees for Ricky, which were the last 2 skill trees I needed to complete for Ricky. So, that's basically that. There's a lot that you need to keep in mind, and there is a lot of information to keep a lookout for as well when it comes to skill trees, as you never know what you never know. Some skills may actually be very beneficial for certain party members. It may not be beneficial for the primary skill holder, but it might be more beneficial for others as well. So, at least there's that. All in all, skill trees, very complicated and requires a lot of experimentation, but it is well worth your time if you know how to optimize it properly for your entire party. And funny enough, in New Game Plus, during a New Game playthrough, when you're setting up skill links will reveal the faces of your current party and also some other party members you might encounter. Or, no, what I'm trying to say is the skill links will reveal your current party. In a New Game Plus playthrough, it will reveal all party members, as I've clearly demonstrated throughout the course of this Let's Play, by accident. And I think I might have accidentally done this at least 2 or 3 times throughout the playthrough. But now that we have Mecha Fiora in our party, there's really no need to hide it anymore. Or say, oops, I made a mistake. As that's no longer a problem whatsoever. So, yeah, that's, as they say, is that. Pure water, eh? That might be a bit of a pain to get our hands on, but then again, who knows? Also, you may be wondering, what the hell is it I'm doing back here for? Well, the reason for that is because some new quests have opened up. Not only that, but I also needed to finish up a quest that involved coming back here, which, thankfully, it's not that long of a trip. And besides, fast traveling is still a thing, and we can easily just get what we need and just leave. Here we are. Okay, let's get to work.
Don't get careless, guys.
Bye-bye. Man, I love Final Cross. Definitely my favorite ability of which Mecha Fiora has in her arsenal. Also, I think another thing worth mentioning here is that regular Hom's Fiora at the beginning of the game, she only has access to about 4 or 5 arts by default, or throughout the entire couple of chapters that you have her. Okay. I'm pretty sure that Shulk and Fiora as well as Charla have some post-battle dialogue, though I can't say with absolute certainty. I feel as though having Charla in your active battle party, she has the least amount of post-battle dialogues between all the party members, which is really bizarre, as a lot of people have a lot of different things to say, but when Charla's involved, it's like, who cares? Let's just move on. Which is really baffling to me. Some other people might feel different, and to that I say, that's fine. We can agree to disagree. There we go. One more thing I will mention here is if I sound a bit nasally, my apologies. My allergies are going off again. Mainly because this weather here has been rather crazy, to say the least. I mean, just today, it's been nothing but rain and, it's just not a very nice day. Plus, I also did a bit of cleaning around the house, hence the reason why today's stream started later than usual. So, yeah. So again, if I sound like I'm worn out, that's because I am. Just saying. Alright.
I don't want anyone dying out there.
Time for a chain attack.
Yeah, sometimes you've got to get
Let's finish this up nice and quick. Get zapped.
So tired.
Nice job.
We make a great team.
Alrighty. Now then, let us proceed. We might be able to encounter more of these Mechon that we need to fight. Also, if you're wondering what that silence was about, I thought I was hearing the main theme for this game for a second there. Perhaps it's just the melody that sounds very similar, but even so, it's rather peculiar that the main theme melody is very similar to just this song in general that plays while exploring all around this part of Mechonis. AKA the Fallen Arm, you know what I mean, folks?
Ready and waiting. Got it. I only need one hit kill. Or something. Let's keep on going like this, guys.
Piece of cake.
Come on.
Alright, let's go.
Leave this to me. Right here.
So then, I guess one thing I will mention is that recently my birthday has come and gone, and now I am the big old 30. Big old 3-0. Just 10 more years before I hit my midlife crisis. See what I did there? But seriously though, it's surreal to see that I'm 30 years old now. It's kind of nuts. And if you're wondering what I did for my birthday, Mom and I just simply went out to dinner. And it was just a nice time. And if you're wondering where we went for dinner, we went to Buffalo Wild Wings. Shulk, a little help over here? That would be great. Or not, just be an asshat and just ignore us and just backslash a frickin' Mechon in the back of the head. That seems perfectly fair. Even so, that's kind of annoying. Alrighty, let's keep moving. Ooh, Big Bird. Of course it would get involved in the fight. Oh well, not a big deal. Oh my! Who knew that this thing can summon reinforcements? Like, literally out of thin air. There you go. Sit down, son. So, one other thing I haven't mentioned yet, and you probably figured this out already, but not only Mechon reside within Fallen Arm, but you may also encounter some regular enemies just hanging around and about too. So that's something to keep in mind. Thankfully, when it comes to the regular enemies, you don't have to worry about them getting in your way, necessarily. Or more or less, you don't have to worry about powering up the Monado and enchanting everyone. Just so you can deal damage to the enemies in the first place. Just saying, though.
Is everybody ready?
Everyone, do your best.
I don't want anyone dying out there.
We can definitely do this.
Thunderbullet! I feel like I could beat anyone. Nothing's stopping you, Fiora. See how you like this.
Sit your ass down. There you go.
Nice job.
We make a great team.
Alright. Digit 2 plane. I have no idea what the hell I was even saying. Gotta love being tongue-tied so often, am I right? Anyway, before we continue making our way up this lovely place, there is one area I kind of want to go to next. Here we go. Better to grab on and take a little bit of damage versus dying from fall damage. You know what I mean?
Yes?
Also, the reason why I spoke to that person was just so that way I could add him to my affinity chart. Alright. Glad that's done. Okay. We're not quite done yet.
Yes?
Alright. What do you have on your mind, dude? Interesting. Alright, that shouldn't be too difficult. So, we need to get our hands on what is known as a tear of the sky from the distant fingertip on the fallen arm, and it only spawns during a thunderstorm, which is kind of interesting. Thankfully, that really won't be too difficult to get our hands on, knowing that you can technically manipulate the weather in more ways than one. Also, hello there. Looks like we got another quest.
Hi.
That doesn't sound good. Oh, that guy Grinch. Thank you for the host, dude. I appreciate it. Okay. Okay, that won't be too difficult to do. Also, apologies that I keep scrolling through the text a bit too fast. Can't really help it.
Yes.
Alright. Glad that's taken care of. Another very easy and very quick quest. Might as well take care of it since we're here, after all. Am I right? Speaking of quests, might as well take care of this one too while we're here. I know it seems kind of ludicrous that we keep getting distracted by so many quests. But it's a good idea to take these on as soon as you can. That way you don't have as many to take on later, for one. And two, the rewards are pretty damn useful. Okay. That won't be too hard. So, upon starting that particular part of the quest, you do get another quest that ties that particular part together, and getting your hands on the materials necessary, that shouldn't be too hard.
Don't get careless. Okay, let's sort this out nice and quickly.
Don't get careless, guys!
Nothing around here that can beat.
Alright, that was easy enough.
Okay, let's get going.
Alright, what have we got in here? Nothing but some neato materials, I guess. I seriously wonder how many materials you can carry. I think the max you can carry is 999 of any given material. So even if you have a couple hundred of them, it is rather interesting.
All done. So tired. Okay, let's get going.
Next. Next in line, please. Who wants a good old ass slapping across the face? I guess I can't carry any more cylinders. Interesting.
Let's sort this out nice.
Alrighty then. I guess I'll be selling a bunch of cylinders that I don't need.
You're out of here.
Bye bye.
I like this plan. Okay,
So one thing that's kind of annoying about playing as Fiora is if you're in the middle of executing an art and you just finished a battle, oh dear, you're going to be in that animation for quite a long time. And let me tell you, it lasts quite a while. One thing worth mentioning is that I think Fiora has the longest animations for beginning a battle and ending a battle out of all characters in the game. And I think the sole reason for this is because of the fact that Fiora twirls her weapons while sheathing them. I mean, sure, it's cool with the style points and all, but even so, it takes forever. And honestly, I think Shulk and Rhine have shorter, like much shorter animations. Though I can't really say if that's absolutely true. Alright. Now then. Ow. Pain. Felt like someone was poking me with a needle on my leg. Not a good feeling. Just, I guess it's nerve pain. What can I say? So one thing I will mention here is that completing the Collectopedia for this particular place, it can be a bit daunting. So, before we continue, there is one place I kind of want to go to right up here. It is quite a long climb. So, be prepared, we're going to be climbing quite a ways up. Like, the highest point, I think, next to Valak Mountain. It's that damn high. And also, yeah, get used to this climbing speed. It's slow as molasses, but it is what it is. And I'm pretty sure everyone has the same climbing speed, regardless of who that person is. So that's something worth mentioning. Also, be careful when descending from this place, as it's quite a long ways down until you reach Mother Earth again. In which case, ouchie ouch. If you're wondering, like, how many ladders are there? Like, where the hell are we going? Trust me, you'll find out when we get there. It is a long climb, and it is kind of tedious, but it's well worth it, because once we reach our destination, it's another pretty breathtaking view, like one of the biggest breathtaking views in the game. Honestly, I think it's like second best next to the waterfall location in Machina Forest. It is truly a wonderful sight. Like I said, it's a long climb, but it's worth it. Plus, there's plenty of these blue orbs around, so we'll at least be collecting more materials, possibly to help with restoration of Colony 6, alongside some other things too. Maybe for a future side quest or something, who knows? So with that, folks, the longest part of the climb is over. Now, there's just the rest. Oh boy. Let me say this, I definitely would not want to climb something like this in real life, as, yeah, I too have a fear of heights, and whenever I'm climbing something, whether it be a ladder, I get jelly legs. In other words, it's not a good thing to have. That is for sure. Like, if you ask me to climb something, especially if it's really high up, I'm more than likely going to say no in that regard. Just saying. Here we are, we're finally here. Welcome to the distant fingertip. Funny enough, there is a quest line that is required for here. If you, there's actually a required item here within the distant fingertip that only appears during a rainstorm. Alright. There's also a heart-to-heart here worth viewing, too. Look, Shulk, look! Hidden Village get really small. It sure looks tiny from here. I can't believe we were down there not so long ago. What a view! Amazing! Ricky see Bionis so well from here. Ricky can see part where Oka and Littlepon are. I think you're right. All your family are waiting for the day you come home. But things are different for me. What's wrong, Shulk? Shulk not look happy. Shulk need to talk to Uncle Ricky. Maybe I should. But I kind of feel like you wouldn't understand. No, Ricky understands everything. Believe in Ricky, Shulk. Okay, here's the thing. My parents died a long time ago. So when I go home, there won't be anyone waiting. That is big shame. Ricky suddenly realize. Ricky have good idea. What is it, Ricky? Ricky Ricky becomes Shulk's daddy pawn. Then Shulk get new mama pawn too. Live like happy family. Aw, what was that, Ricky? Shulk use big hum brain. Shulk can live with Ricky and Oka. Then Shulk have family waiting. Shulk never gets sad again. Aw, Shulk not like Ricky's idea? Ricky very, very sorry, Shulk. Ricky only want to see Shulk happy. No, it's not that. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you so much. No one's ever asked me to be a part of their family. Shulk not worry anymore. Ricky want to always see big hum smile from ear to ear. Then Shulk go show Melly and all friends smile to cheer them up. Wait, Ricky? I'll go and show him right now. You're a great friend, Ricky. Aw, that was sweet. Now then, let's bring in Melia and Fiora for a bit. Why the heck not, right? Might as well show everyone off while we can, right? Now then. Now that distraction is finally cleansed, let us continue and see where the road will take us next. Let me tell you, it's been quite a long time. Okay, I don't even know what the hell I was saying. Regardless, though, it's been quite a while since we've even considered heading towards our destination. But even so, the time is now. Enough distractions, enough dilly-dallying. It's time to head into the main fortress known as Mechonis. Let's head on in and get this party rolling. Now, shall we? Now that we have the key required to enter this place, funny enough, you could technically go over here earlier, but you would not be able to proceed. Not until you got the key to progress the story. Also, don't fall in the water here because, believe it or not, that is poisonous. I don't know how or why, but it is.
Bionis and Mechonis.
Oh, it's so different, seeing them from this kind of perspective.
We cannot see it from here, but our people are still fighting up there.
It's difficult to believe that two such huge things ever fought each other. I wonder how the Machina felt at the time.
Must have been horrible.
Scary too.
Fear robs us of reason. Out of fear, we commit terrible atrocities and call them acts of self-preservation.
Fear gives rise to more fear. A never-ending circle of hatred.
Perhaps that circle can be broken.
Fear. It must be what's driving this. What's made Egil act this way.
Oh.
I wonder what that was all about. Well, we'll find out soon enough as we head on in to Mechonis. Time to get this party started. Funny enough, navigating through this place, it's actually pretty awesome. It may seem like it's going to be a bit of a trek and also a bit of a pain in the butt, considering that Bionis itself is really damn big, and Mechonis looks even bigger. I will say this right now, there's nothing to worry about when it comes to size. It's purely deceptive. Anyway, welcome to the Mechonis field.
We're inside the Mechonis.
Just how I imagined it. It's all totally mechanical. It ain't gonna be easy getting up this thing.
Egil is at the top.
Who knows if he's actually there? Perhaps he's closer than we actually think. Who knows? Anyway, like I said, navigating through this place, it's gonna take a bit of time, but not as much time as it originally took navigating through Bionis. That is for sure. What do we have down here? Looks like a pretty important quest item. A memory 925 piece. Interesting. Very interesting. So, one thing worth mentioning around here is that there are a lot of different ways that you can navigate your way through Mechonis itself. As you may notice, there are a couple of different alternate paths that you can take to sneak around the Mechon forces. And honestly, it's not a bad idea to sneak around if you feel like you're under-leveled and you feel like you're going to get your butt handed to you on a silver platter. Just saying. You never know. Sometimes the enemy forces may be a bit overwhelming. There we go. What do we got here? Ooh, new boosters. Okay, nothing too crazy here. Like I said, there are a lot of different paths and different ways you can navigate your way through this metallized fortress. Inventory spool. Cannot harvest any more crystals. Okay. Interesting. You would think I would be able to, but alas, I cannot. Alrighty. Honestly, I kind of forgot about selling my current hoard. But it's no problem. So long as we reach the next shop within a given, within a decent manner of time, we'll be able to sell everything in no time. One thing I find kind of interesting is that depending on your setup, you can still technically poison mechanized units. In other words, the Mechon around here. So why the hell is that even possible? I have no clue. Regardless, though, it is something worth pointing out. And honestly, at that point, I kind of chuck it up to video game logic at its finest. It's baffling, confusing, and also really peculiar, if you know what I mean. Alrighty.
Let's stay focused.
What's up, Shulk?
Look, it's a switch to activate a lift. If we can get it to work, it should take us up.
Ricky want to ride lift?
We can't. There's no power going to it.
Boring!
What do we do?
Well, if we could find the main power supply...
Okay, people, let's get looking.
Yeah. If we can connect the power to the switch, we should be able to use the lift.
Alright, that shouldn't be too difficult. So anyway, before we can make our ascent up the Mechonis itself, we kind of need to provide power to these lifts. But getting to these switches, really shouldn't be that difficult. In fact, the first one is just a simple leisurely stroll to the switch. Get used to doing this, however, as there are going to be other lifts which will require us to activate multiple power sources. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, another thing to be wary of is be careful when navigating through this place, as there are a lot of ways you can fall to your untimely doom when navigating through Mechonis. And let me tell you, it's a very, very long way down. And let me tell you, it's not fun. Okay, I don't even know why I said that in the same sentence, but you basically get the idea. Okay. One more thing worth mentioning around here is be careful when initiating battle on these skinny platforms here. As, well, obviously you have very little space to move around in. There appears to be a quest item up here, but I think it's further up. Maybe. I'm not too sure. Then again, maybe it's down below and I don't even realize it's down there. That could be a very real possibility. In fact, I think it is. It may seem like that we're running around in circles for no reason, but trust me, there is a reason. There is a reason why I'm down here. Excuse me. Again, I think this is just for another memory chip. Yep. Another memory chip. Or more or less a memory piece, but even so, just saying. All I can say about Mechonis at this point is that the music for this place is kind of eerie, but it is quite atmospheric. And very fitting for a place like this. A place made purely of metal. I mean, the place is called Mechonis for a reason. Am I right? Okay. Let's see what's next on the agenda. Anyway, you may notice a couple of fairly decently powerful enemies around here. If you're confident, you should... No. What I'm trying to say is, if you feel confident in your abilities, feel free to take these guys on. You won't be disappointed. But, if you are not so confident in your abilities and you feel like you're underleveled, avoid these guys like the plague and just simply sneak around them. It's pretty easy to do so too, as their line of sight is relatively small. There are a couple of different ways you can sneak around them. You can use the grating around the side here and just run around, or you could face them head on. I always face them head on, as I've always had more than enough of a level advantage of fighting these guys. And really, it's not that bad. It really isn't. Here we go. All done.
Right, let's keep going.
Here we go. First floor power switch is now active. Now to navigate our way to the second switch. Like I said, starting from the second floor onward, this is where you're going to be doing a ton of running around, pressing one switch, then pressing another, and doing it again and again. Also, I'm pretty sure for this particular floor, you have to push them in the right order. well, more or less, you have to push them in order. It's not necessarily in the quote-unquote right order. I think that's what I was trying to say here. Okay. Time to start making our ascent. This is another one of those things where it's pretty easy to fall if you're not careful. Also, I'm pretty sure if you time your jump just right, in like just the right way, you'll be able to essentially skip a large part of this place. Maybe? Ooh, just made it! Shortcuts for the win. What can I say? It's pretty cool to see that that particular speedrunning tactic still works. I know speedrunners do that power to lift faster. Otherwise, the intended way requires you to go quite a bit of a ways around. And let me tell you, failing that jump means certain death. So if you're not confident in pulling something like that off, don't worry about it. Just take the long way around. You'll be fine. Another fun fact about pulling off that particular jump is you get to skip a lot of Mechon forces as a result, which is pretty sweet. And as you can see, if we would have taken the intended path, we would have had to make a very long trek around here just to get to this elevator. And even just to drop down to power the damn elevator. Just saying. Speedrunners. Speedrunning is a pretty big deal. Funny enough, at this point, I think from what I hear, the current world record for Xenoblade Chronicles in a New Game Plus run is incredibly optimized, almost to a T. It's one of the most optimized games out there. It's that nuts. It's kind of like Star Fox 64. How that game is almost optimized to a T. At least I'm pretty sure it is. And again, who knows? I can't say for sure, but I feel as though that is the case. Also, the reason why I tried to show off that particular jump as it's because I've seen it done, and I just wanted to give it a whirl for myself. It was a YOLO kind of jump, if anything. And even if I wouldn't have made the jump, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. I would have just continued and just went on the intended path anyway. So, again, just something I felt like showing off because pansies. There we go. All done with that. Great, we got one of these assets. Is he gonna target us? No? Okay, good. Oh, hi. Of course you would target us. All done.
We've definitely gotten stronger.
Kind kind of unfortunate that I can't pick up any more cylinders, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. There we go. That sure took a little bit of unnecessary time, but it is what it is. Not that big of a deal. Also, I'm pretty sure a lot of these enemies around here are going to be dropping cylinders. So if you are looking to craft more gems for your weapons and whatnot, might not be a bad idea to craft a few gems with those cylinders. Time to get to work. Very nice. Funny enough, we even got another chain attack ready to go. That's pretty nuts. Ha! Wow, everyone is dead! That was pretty sweet. An art book. Not like I really need it, but it is what it is. Funny enough, art book drops are very, very rare drops. And farming art books is not easy, let me tell you. It really isn't. It's definitely one of the most difficult things you can do in this game, and it's also incredibly time-consuming. But thanks to Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition being a thing, along with the new time trial mode, you can just buy the highest level art books there is after completing the extra story. And once you buy the highest level art books, you don't need to worry about art book farming ever again. So that's pretty sweet.
What? Just because we're girls, we're supposed to be wimps? How rude.
Quite. I'm afraid you have much to learn about the Pharaoh's sex, Shulk.
Why do I get the feeling that mastering the Monado is going to be easier?
Okay, that was actually pretty funny. I'm done. Yeah, definitely a piece of cake, considering that everyone's arts are already at the max that they can be. Also, I'm pretty sure there aren't any additional shortcut jumps that I know of that work in this version. Then again, maybe there are, and I just don't remember correctly. Regardless, though, it is something worth mentioning. Now then, let us continue. Oh boy. Like I said, navigating through this place, there is a ton of running around involved. Also, you may be wondering, when is the end of this game going to be? Typically, around or the longest live stream Let's Play I've done, I think is tied between a couple of different games, which are Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door and Kingdom Hearts 2, and maybe one other game I can't remember off the top of my head, but even so, those streams ended, or more or less those playthroughs finished, at about 15 or so sessions. We're already at session 11 for this game, and I'm gonna say we're approaching the halfway point. In fact, I think we already have reached the halfway point after we gotten Fiora back in our party. So the second half of the game has technically begun in the last session. And we're still a ways to go before we reach the end. Where the hell is everyone? Oh, there you are. Finally. I'm done. Oh boy. Okay, so our next destination, believe it or not, is right over here. However, before we go, there is one other area I kind of want to take a look at. And I believe it's somewhere around here. Let me check my quest to see. Let's see here. No. Ah, here we go. This one. I really wish there was another fast travel. Oh wait, there is. There is another fast travel point. Oops. Whatever, it's not that big of a deal. So you may be wondering, what's the point of activating this particular cylinder? Well, normally there's not much of a point. But activating it will grant us access to a lower part of this particular level. Ow. Alright, let's go. Bye-bye. That sure took a bit of time, but at least the deed is finally done. Also, some new gear for Fiora. It may seem like it's nothing really all that special. In fact, it's not exactly beneficial for my current setup. But it is some new equipment that I can change around with Fiora cosmetically. As unlike all the other characters, I think most of Fiora's cosmetic equipment is still technically locked. So, getting my hands on all of Fiora's gear shouldn't be too difficult of a task now, which is pretty awesome. Time to finish this up nice and quick. done. Thankfully, that wasn't anything too difficult to sneeze at whatsoever. Really, they were no problem whatsoever, so that's pretty awesome. Oh, hi there. Funny enough, I think those guys show up after you defeat the main force, and they'll try to fight you if you're under-leveled, or if you're around their level. But if you're roughly level 60, then you can just walk right past them, and everything is right with the world. So, one thing I will mention here is one thing I really love doing when riding these conveyor belts is, at the very end, time a jump perfectly and have the momentum carry you a bit further. But for whatever reason, if you mistime it, then your momentum comes to a screeching halt. I don't know why that is, and it's kind of ridiculous, but it's not that bad, honestly. Still though, it is a fun way to travel. You should totally try it. Okay, let us continue our ascent. Oh, hello there. You look rather interesting. Believe it or not, he's not a named NPC, and I think what he's telling you here is you can ride these smokestacks all the way up here. Just when you're riding the smoke, don't move the analog stick, otherwise you're going to have a very bad time. Now then, one thing I will also mention here is our next destination is not too far up from where we need to go. But before we go there, I kind of want to head over here first, because believe it or not, this is actually this leads us to a secret area, the Great Battle Scar. There's also some other secrets around here too, and it's not just the area itself. And in order to reach the secret area, this is gonna be kind of tricky, as we need to time our slides and jumps in just the right way, where the physics will carry us to where we need to go. This slope here is really, really steep, and it's very easy to end up slipping and falling down, so to slow your descent, just simply run against the slope as you're making your way down. And there we are. Again, we kind of reached the bottom, which is kind of annoying. But I'm pretty sure there is another secret within this Great Battle Scar area. One that I kind of missed during the slide, which... oh boy. Okay. Maybe this is a bit higher up. It could very well be possible. Let me take a look. I remember during a sliding section like this, there was a secret path around here. Yeah, it must be higher up. So instead of proceeding, let's head over here instead. It may seem like it's a bit of a waste of time, but trust me, there's a reason of coming up here. It is a little bit of a trip, but it is well worth your time. Well worth your time, energy, and also patience too. As you can see, there is a sort of a secret shop and some NPCs, and even more quests worth picking up over here. Okay, so this is what I was talking about not that long ago about there being a secret around here. Getting to the secret is a little bit of a challenge, as again you kind of have to fight against gravity when sliding down this slope. And you kind of have to do this in just the right way. Otherwise, you're going to slide all the way down. There we go. Believe it or not, that's actually a lot harder than you would think it would be. Unless you know how to fight gravity and slow your descent down. In which case, it can be considered pretty easy. Welcome to the Machina Refuge.
What do you need?
What do you need? I need some money. So, what do you have for us, Mr. Garrison Troop? Just defeat some Mechon for you? Okay, that won't be too difficult. Funny enough, a lot of these Mechon we should be able to encounter as we continue to make our ascent up the Mechonis itself. Now then, time to sell off a bunch of junk that we don't need. And let me tell you, we got a lot of these cylinders to sell. Let's go ahead and make our way up to Series 4, to the start of Series 5. There we are. A little further down. There we go. Even selling off cylinders is a fairly decent way of making some cash. Granted, you're not getting very much money out of these cylinders or even the crystals themselves, but it is well worth your time selling these things off. Although, if you're trying to get your hands on some very rare crystals, don't sell the 5 series of crystals or cylinders. Just saying, you're going to need those in order to make some really damn good gems. But Series 4 and below, sell away. I really wish this would go by a bit faster than it currently is, but it's not that big of a deal, honestly. I can live with the speed. It's better than selling them each and every single one of these things individually. Am I right? Otherwise, we'd be here for quite a long-ass time. Plus, this also helps out with clearing out our inventory, too. If that wasn't obvious. I mean, we were kind of maxed out for quite a long time. But, like I said, it's worth it. Just a little bit more, and we should be done. All done. Now, let's see what you got for sale. Mostly it's Mechon-based equipment. More or less an upgraded version of the Mechon-based equipment. So, coming up to this secret shop is definitely well worth your time. And if you happen to spare cash, it's also worth buying everything that this shop has to offer. There we go. Everything's bought. Perfect. There's also a ether cylinder here too, so if you need to refill on cylinders, come to this place and you'll be good to go. Alright, there's really not a whole lot to say about the secret shop here. It's just a very small location, but it does hold some very valuable equipment. It's expensive, but if you can get your hands on them, it will be worth it. Okay, let's head on up.
Whoa! Don't look down. Anyone know where we are? Other than high up.
Maybe somewhere around the thigh?
The thigh? You mean we ain't even halfway there yet?
Stop moaning about it. Look, we can make camp over there. Let's rest for a while.
Fiora, are you sure you're feeling okay?
I feel a bit like I haven't got used to this body yet. But please, whatever you do, don't tell Shulk about it. I'm sorry, Dunban.
Don't worry about it. Back when my arm was injured, it was you who took care of me.
I'd almost forgotten. It seems so long ago now.
Thanks, Ryan.
Doing a spot of maintenance?
Yeah. The sighting's been a bit off lately.
You know, Mechon let us have some new parts. I could make you a new rifle if you want.
Thanks. But I want to keep using this one for now.
Shulk, get a clue, man. It's more than just a weapon to her. She can't just throw it away and get a new one.
Yeah. I suppose so.
If she let anything happen to it, I bet she'd get a whack from old Atharon.
Doesn't my man ever rest?
Not a chance. The lives of everyone in the colony rely on the defense force. Our readiness and our will to keep on fighting.
We never know when the Mechon will strike next.
No. But I won't let anyone else die. If only I had more power.
Stop it! Gaddo, it's not your fault!
We lost 30 men in Fortress 3 alone.
Listen to me. Nobody knew that so many Mechon would come. More people would have died if it wasn't for you.
It's not about reducing casualties. We lost 30 men. And we've lost the fortress. Those men died for nothing!
Would their deaths have meaning if we'd won?
Yes. At least they would have died for something. This is the end now. It's either the Mechon or us. I don't care if I'm the last man standing. I'll take them down!
I can definitely feel what Gaddo is thinking there. Hell, Shulk felt the same sort of way too, when the Mechon attacked Colony 9.
What is it?
Do you want to beat the Mechon?
Of course. What are you asking that for?
At any cost? Even if it means giving your own life?
Giving my own life? No way, I can't do anything if I'm dead. I'm gonna take down the Mechon and survive. And there's no way I'm gonna lose Shulk, Fiora, or you along the way. We're all gonna win this and get out alive.
If only we all thought like you.
What do you mean?
It's charming.
What?
What do you find charming, exactly? I'm guessing Ryan's optimism?
Get moving. We don't have time to hang around.
Ryan, did you rest well?
Yeah, I feel great.
It looks like we're about to re-enter the Mechonis. Brace yourselves.
Got it.
Oh boy. Looks like we're being watched. But by who? Hi.
Dun, you okay?
Oh, it's nothing. Just my imagination.
Are you sure about that, Dunban? Are you sure that you should tell everyone we're kind of being watched here? I mean, to be fair, he only saw that faced unit for like about a fraction of a second. Almost as if Dunban had autonomous ultra instinct active or something. Then again, some people have that gut feeling like they're being watched or something. And sometimes it can come in handy to know exactly when you're being watched in more ways than one. How's everyone doing? Alright, so once we head back inside the Mechonis itself, what we need to do here is activate two different power sources in order to proceed. Okay. These Mechon here can be a bit of a problematic bunch, but they shouldn't be too bad to take out, all things considered.
Now you shall witness our power. Leave this to me. I'm gonna go all out.
Time to get to work. Time to smack some Mechon upside the head. Very nice. Another challenge quest down. Still got several more to go. Not like I'm really focusing on them right now or anything, but we will get to a point where I will be focusing mainly on finishing up all the side quests that I have currently gathered up. Alongside that, I'll also be working on gathering materials for restoring Colony 6.
Good luck, everyone. I'm ready. Take me lightly at your peril.
Give it all you've got, Melia. I'm really feeling it.
Do not hesitate. Ether is flowing through me. Do this. Double in. I'm feeling pretty good. Your actions impress me. Manifest yourself. Zero.
I'm really feeling it.
Do not hesitate, Shulk. Witness my power.
Nice. Nice and quick, just the way I like it. Anyway, getting to where we need to go to next, and getting to the different things in order to proceed, this won't be too difficult. It is going to take a little bit of time, but it won't be too bad. All done. Okay. So one other thing I haven't mentioned yet, when it comes to traversing around Mechonis, whether it be the Fallen Arm or inside the actual Mechonis itself, you want to have either Shulk or Fiora in the active battle party basically at all times. Because those two people can damage Mechon by default without needing to use Mechon-based weaponry. Just saying. Also, believe it or not, fast traveling back here, it is faster than making your way back. I'm just saying. Of course, we will have to deal with this trio again, but it won't be that bad. I mean, we've defeated these guys very easily before, and we sure as hell can do it again. There we go. See? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Pretty interesting how that particular Mechon didn't notice me. I mean, we were just outside of its line of sight along its flight path. So that's pretty nice, I guess. Even so, I guess that would have broken up the monotony, even if it was just a little bit. There we go. Oops. Didn't mean to grab everything, but oh well. Not that big of a deal. We'll just have more to sell later. Or at all. Just saying. Another flawless victory. Fatality. One other thing I haven't mentioned yet about the secret shop that we went to not that long ago. The second series of Mechon-based equipment, you can't find them anywhere else, not even from enemy drops, at least as far as I know. Then again, maybe you can later on in the game, but they're very rare drops. Then again, who knows? I know I could technically look up this information right now if I wanted to, but honestly, I don't think it's that necessary. There we go. All right. Glad that's done. Now it's time to activate the main power source. Which again, It's faster to fast travel back to where you need to go than it is to, not do that. You know what I mean? Seriously. I know it seems kind of redundant that we keep doing this again and again. But, it's not that bad. And again, if you time your jumps just right, you can avoid many of the enemies. Or many of the enemies' line of sights. So, that's pretty nice.
Prepare yourselves. Good luck, everyone. Double blade, succumb to the power of Earth. Fang! The ether is flowing through me. Double wind on Earth. Way to go, Shulk.
All done. Another monster quest down. Jeez, how many monster quests have we completed up to this point? Honestly, I don't know. I've kind of lost track. Now then, let us continue. Of course he would target me. No big deal. One other thing I think is worth mentioning here is that Melia 2 could also technically damage Mechon without needing to be enchanted by the Monado first. However, she can only do that if she is using her ether-based arts. Physical-based arts? Yeah, no, that's just not happening. Just saying. That was kind of a lame chain, not gonna lie. Well, whatever. It's not a big deal. All done. I was going to execute another chain attack, but it looks like that's not going to be necessary now. And honestly, that makes me pretty happy. There we go. Pretty easy fight. Then again, some people will probably argue and say that that was not exactly what we would call easy. But, even so. Okay. Went a bit too far. Let's head on down here in time to power up this machine. What a long journey, but we're finally here. Welcome to the main power switch of the 4th floor. All done with that. Now we can finally access the frickin' list and ascend even further up the Mechonis itself. I noticed some exclamation marks around here. Does that mean that there's something either above or below? Who knows? Guess we'll find out now. If anything, I could always fast travel if I need to. Which honestly is not a bad idea at this point. Of course. You know what? Forget it. We're not going to worry about this now. We'll worry about it later. We made it. And of course, couldn't quite get past these guys. Wow, did the frame rate just tank there, or was that just me? Well, regardless, at least the deed is done. Now, in order to ascend this lift, we're gonna have to deal with a few members of the welcoming committee. And let me tell you, there's quite a large number of these fiends. But it's not gonna be the worst thing ever, by far. All done. That wasn't too bad, all things considered. Could have been far worse. Alright, let's ride this lift and head on up. Now, shall we? Honestly, I can't believe it. We've already been streaming for 2 hours and 14 minutes now. Up we go. Also, if you're wondering, yes, the elevator ride is literally this long. It takes forever. I think it lasts roughly a minute to a minute and 15 seconds, I think. I can't say for sure if that's the actual timing for that elevator ride, but it does last for quite a while. Alright, here we are. Wow, that's a big, big hallway. It's so big it makes Final Fantasy 13 blush. For anyone who's played that game knows what I'm talking about. Alright, let's head on in. Careful, Fiora.
She looks very tired. Should she not get some rest?
Thank you. But really, I'm okay.
No. We'll find a safe place to rest. We've hardly stopped since we left the village.
Ricky tired too. Ricky tummy rumble.
I'm with you. Time to park our...
Get down!
Whoa!
A Mechon assault! Can anyone see them?
Another vision. Nice one, Shulk.
No, it wasn't.
Shulk?
Almost as if he had ultra instincts or something.
You did well to evade me. Just what you'd expect from he who wields the Monado.
That voice.
It's a Faced Mechon.
Is there someone inside?
What do we do, Shulk?
We fight,
Duh.
but don't kill him.
Thought you might say that.
Alright, here we go. Time to fight against the Jade Face. Yes, that is what this thing is called. So, for this battle, this is a very unique battle as the boss technically travels to the very back of this hallway. And every time you step within its line of sight, a vision is automatically given to Shulk and friends. So, in order to even reach the thing, we need to get to the boss without being shot to death. And let me tell you, every time you step within the Jade Face's line of sight, you'll get a vision every time. And in order to get rid of that vision, what you need to do is run to the nearest piece of cover. Thankfully, there's plenty of cover scattered throughout the entire arena. But, even so, you definitely don't want to be in the line of sight of Jade Face there with that for too long. Otherwise, you're going to get shot. And let me tell you, it's going to be very, very painful, as you will have to deal with paralysis. Not just paralysis, but also a fairly decent amount of damage as a result. Thankfully, you'll have more than enough time to evade the attack. Even so, though, it is something worth mentioning. Ow! Well, that was kind of lame. I didn't think I would get shot immediately. I mean, I did just recently duck back out of cover after the vision occurred, but even so, that kind of sucks. What's even more annoying is that the effects persist. At least for a little bit. But thankfully, it's not that bad. And once we reach Jade Face, this is where the fun officially begins. And we don't have to worry about those visions of the future anymore, so that's pretty nice. Of course, you may also encounter some other enemies that may try to target you. But deal enough damage to Jade Face and you win.
Shala!
Gado! It's you, isn't it? Please answer me! Let me see you!
So it is! Hello, Gado! What did I tell you?
Gado! I knew you were alive!
Gado!
Is that Shala's boyfriend?
The destruction of the Monado. That is the will of Lord Egil.
Gado?
What do you mean, Lord? What's Egil done to you?
What's wrong, Gado? Why would you say that? Speak to me, Gado!
This world is in disarray. I must eliminate the cause of this disorder and restore the world to its original form. That is my duty. Nay, the will of the world. Now, the time has come. The time to restore order.
Gado! Stop! Gato!
Shala!
Whoa! Damn! Well, that was definitely a very close call. Thanks, Fiora. You just saved everyone. Oh.
Lady Mayneth. It is not far off now. A world in which there is no need for fear. The hour draws near. Our will shall soon be done. First, there is the matter of the Monado. Our victory can only be assured if we destroy the Monado before it's too late. I sense your existence. I know you are alive. Zanza, the hour is upon us. Your time has come.
Whoa. Damn. Looks like the Mechonis is awakening. And what does he mean by Zanza's time has come?
Shulk. Shulk.
Who's calling my name?
Shulk, you have acquired the ability to glimpse the future. The ability to understand the law of causality as decided by a higher power.
A higher power? Like the Bionis?
Why do you desire to change the future? Why do you wish to act against their will?
I do just as anyone would do. It is natural to want to change an unhappy future. If that is their will, then I choose to fight.
If that is what you wish, Shulk, then you must find your Monado.
My Monado?
Precisely. The one true Monado.
You can't do that. Because you aren't here. Not anymore.
What the hell does that mean? Not like Shulk is a literal zombie and a walking corpse, right? For sure.
Is everyone okay?
Yeah.
That was a close one. I mean, how on Bionis did we survive that? We seem all right.
Because plot. That's the reason.
It could be that we were just lucky, but I'm sure there must be more to it than that.
You were protected by the power of Lady Mayneth.
Who's there?
Hello there.
Machina.
Are you... Vanea?
Vanea? Does that mean you're Mikol's daughter?
I am glad you are safe. Lady Mayneth.
Lady Mayneth?
So that's the being inside of Fiora.
That face was sent to destroy you. I am truly happy you're all right.
You're lying. Gado would never try and hurt us.
Sadly, his home's memories no longer remain. The current faces are nothing more than weapons, designed to annihilate all life on Bionis.
It can't be.
Faces are created by directly integrating the brainstem and metabolic organs of Homs into Mechon. Memories and emotion are nothing but a hindrance to an effective weapon. However, the early Faces were experimental. Many retained memories from their former lives. This prevented them from executing their missions effectively. More recent Faces have had all memories of their previous lives completely erased.
Is that because of me?
No, it is not your fault.
Mumkar seems the more likely candidate. His attachment to us was too strong. You could say it caused his destruction.
Makes sense.
You are correct.
No, it's not true. Oh, my Gado.
Sharla?
Explain it to me. I mean, why does Egil want to make us into Mechon? What's the reason for all this?
In order to counter the Monado.
I knew it.
The Monado is ineffective against the High-Entier, the Homs, against all races of Bionis. Egil suffered a bitter defeat in the battle 1 year ago. After that, he theorized that he could counter the Monado by integrating organic life from Bionis.
Of course. Initially, the Monado couldn't take a Hom's life.
It can now, though.
It could not harm those who share the blood of Zanza. That was its sole weakness. But Zanza lifted that constraint.
Those who share the blood of Zanza? Who is that giant?
The progenitor of the Homs.
Him?
And once the friend of my brother Egil, before they became sworn enemies.
Ooh.
It was Zanza who devastated Mechonis.
What?
But why? Why did he do something like this? I'm pretty sure there's more to this at play than what is being said here. And we'll probably find out the more finer details as we progress.
Wow, look at that. Are they the Havras?
They're the latest anti-Mechon weapons, designed by Lorothea and the Ministry of Research. What a glorious sight. The coming together of all the peoples of Bionis.
Yes, sir.
This is how it should always have been. Then perhaps Father would not.
Your Highness.
We are fortunate that Dixon informed us of the enemy's new weapon. Our defenses are ready. Today, we start our campaign against Galahad Fortress. Just beyond the fortress lies the imperial capital of Mechonis. This is a battle to determine not just our own fates, but the future of all life on Bionis. We fight for future prosperity and the glory and honor of all. Troops, advance!
So, it appears that the attack of the Allied forces has now commenced. Let the games begin.
Are you saying that Zanza is to blame for Mechonis' devastation? It's Zanza's sword that I'm using. Does this mean we're enemies? And if so, why are you...
Shulk, calm down.
You're overthinking things, Shulk.
I will take you to the Mechonis capital, Agniratha.
Is that your plan? Lead us straight to the gates of our enemy? Deliver us into Egil's hands?
It will be quicker to show you than to explain. Then you will understand the history of Mechonis, and the battle between the two titans. Up ahead is a lift that leads to the central factory, within the chest of the Mechonis. The capital, Agniratha, lies just beyond there.
Looks like we have an even bigger trek on our hands. Oh boy, this is gonna be quite fun. And when I say fun, I mean fun. So, at this point, Vinaya joins our party as a guest. And that's really all she joins the party for. She's just a guest. So, after the battle with the Jade Face, aka Gadot, has been completed, these little conveyor belts over here now are opened up, and we can take them straight to the very end of this corridor. Honestly, it's way faster to ride this thing all the way to the end versus running all the way to the end of the hallway. Seriously, it really is. It may seem like it's a bit backwards that we're doing this, considering the path that is being laid before us, but it's definitely worth your time. Trust me. Way faster to ride the thing, and it's more fun, too. So, might as well take the opportunity to do so. Am I right? And even if you choose to not do that, there's really nothing here anyway. So you might as well take the expressway all the way through. Now, time to head into the thigh of the Mechonis. This is where the fun really begins. Here we are. Welcome to the Mechonis Central Factory.
This is the central factory within the chest of the Mechonis. Can you see the ring up ahead? At the base of that ring is a transporter that leads to Agniratha. We must first head there. This place is full of autonomous security, Mechon. Tread carefully.
Okay, will do. We'll definitely tread carefully. So, in order to get to the center structure and proceed forward, we kind of need to activate a few lifts. But to do this is no easy task, that is for sure. And also, since we're already at the halfway mark when it comes to Mechonis itself, the music changes. So that's pretty sweet. Also, I believe a lot of the enemies around here are all going to be, shoot. They're all going to be stronger than some of the other enemies whom we fought up to this point. So, be prepared for a fairly difficult battle ahead. And it's not just one battle, it's many battles to come. I believe a lot of the enemies around here are going to be roughly in the high 50s when it comes to their level. And there might be some higher level enemies as well, roughly around our level, which is level 60, level 61, etc., etc. There we go, all done with that. Now then, you may be wondering, what the hell is the point of going up here exactly? I know our story destination is pointing in the other direction, which is where we should go, but the reason why I'm heading up here is due to a few reasons. First, there might be a unique monster or two up here that's worth fighting. Okay, all done. Ruby glasses. I didn't think I would get my hands on that. Alas, we are. Okay, so you can get the second series of Machina-based weapons here. They're just very rare drops. Like how rare exactly? I'd say probably roughly 20%. Maybe. I'm not too sure. Regardless, though, it's fairly rare to get the second series of weapons. Time to get to work. Time to get to work. Damn! Nice one, Fiora! That was awesome. Bye-bye. Everyone is dead. There was definitely a point in fighting that unique monster up here. And that was mainly for, just for the affinity coin for defeating it. And that's really all there is to it. There's also another time travel time travel, what? Another time attack portal that you can access here. So, if you want to do more time trials for whatever reason, you can do so here. Yo, Shulk, maybe some enchantment would be nice. Hello. Ah, goddammit, Shulk. I love it when you just don't enchant me until the battle's already goddamn over. That's the thing about AI Shulk. It doesn't tend to use enchant properly, or at the right moments, which is very annoying. Neato. Another new frame for Fiora. Pretty sweet. Okay. Let's keep on moving. And again, the reason why I'm heading up here instead of forward is simply because of possible unique monsters up here that I kind of want to get fight and just bring them down to a bloody pulp. Not like these Mechon have blood, but you know, it's a metaphor. What can I say? Sweet. There is one other thing worth mentioning here, is that this part of Mechonis has its own collectopedia. Believe it or not, those couple areas we've been through with Mechonis, each of them have their own collectopedia that you have to complete. Well, okay, you don't have to complete, but completing them is well worth your time, as you'll get your hands on some really awesome gear for completing the collectopedia. Which technically I've already done, but I'm just saying. We don't have to worry about that here because, well, I've already taken care of it during a prior playthrough. Alright. Get down. Get down with your bad self, boy! Okay. Okay. There was definitely a point of going up there for sure. It may seem like that was kind of pointless, but again, it's worth it purely for fighting all the monster or all the Mechon that are up there, and also worth getting the additional experience for sure. All done. Let's see what we got. Alright. Guess I'll leave the rest here. Oops. Wrong belt. Alright. When it comes to navigating through this place, it is going to be a very, very long trip. As we're going to have to take quite a scenic route in order to even progress forward. Okay, here we are. To the Central Tower complete. I'm pretty sure another story quest is going to pop up at some point. And it's probably going to be relatively soon. But... oh boy. Let's go. Oof, that kind of hurt. Wow, nice one. Love it. That was easy. And of course, they're not going to give us any rest anytime soon. Okay, that was dumb. Shouldn't have done that. I was going to execute Blossom Dance, but... yeah, that apparently was not happening.
I wish I had a brother or sister. You guys look like a real family.
Well, you're basically like our baby brother.
What? Baby brother?
Be careful what you wish for.
Funny enough, I never heard that post-battle dialogue before. Well, you learn something new every day. It was quite adorable. And I loved it. Loved every second of it. And what's even more hilarious is that it's kind of true. I said kind of. Not necessarily 100% true. But even so. I'm just saying. Dunban, Fiora, and Shulk, they are kind of like family. So... in order to proceed, there is a laser barricade that we kind of need to bring down. But bringing this down is actually pretty damn easy. All we need to do is just press a switch and then we'll be fine. But it is guarded by this ass hat here, which it can be a little bit of a pain in the butt to take down. But it is worth your time for sure. And there we go. Laser barricade brought down. That was easy. Great, more Mechon. My favorite. Hello there, everyone. And before we leave, ooh, That's a lot of Zord-looking Mechon there. Now then, let's get started, shall we? All done. Okay. There's a reason why I released those gates. Because believe it or not, there is a unique monster mixed in with all these mass-produced Faced Mechon. And yeah, that particular Faced Mechon is gonna be a bit of a problem. It is a pretty high-level piece of machinery, but we should still be able to defeat it so long as we work together, and everything should work out all hunky-dory. It's not like it's that much higher when it comes to levels. And if anything, I can always raise my team's level just so we can compete with it a bit better. Let's go.
Leave it to me. Against the odds, we choose to fight. Blossom dance. More. Got it. It's not over yet.
Okay. My turn. I feel stronger.
Okay. Probably should have toppled him instead, all things considered, but perhaps AI Fiora will be smart enough to use Final Cross now that she technically can. We'll definitely see. Time to finish this. And possibly with style, with grace. Get shat on, little boy. And he's down. What a way to finish it off, too. Definitely well worth your time. It is a pretty powerful beast, but it's one where if you defeat it, it is definitely worth the reward. Nice. What we got here? Magna Sniper 2. Interesting. Another weapon for Sharla. I didn't expect to receive something like this. But, again, it's one of those drops I never even considered getting yet. Which is kinda nuts. Now, I do know that we are approaching the 3-hour mark relatively soon, but I want to proceed a bit further before we call it a day. As stopping here is really not the best of options. I mean, technically we could stop anywhere and save our progress and be all hunky-dory and everything's happy, but the reason why I'm waiting a little bit is just to proceed just a little bit further. Also, another sort of side quest opportunity here within the storage depot. I know it seems kind of like a waste of time, but trust me, it's well worth it. And the sole reason for this being worth it is because there is a unique monster among this group. Thank you, Shulk. Now, thankfully, this should last the remainder of the battle. Nice. Bye! Man, I love doing that. That is so freaking cool. Plus, we finish it in slow motion, too. Just to add on to the point that that was just super badass. Plus, that was another side quest completed. So that's pretty sweet. Now, can we just leave without triggering anyone else? Yes, we can. Thank you. Thank you and goodbye. Alright. Let's keep moving. There is still a little bit of a ways to go when it comes to navigating through this place. And honestly, once we reach our next stop, that might be a good place to call it a stream. But I am going to wait just a little bit longer. We might even reach that place really shortly. Like, right now shortly. And right now I feel like I gotta freaking pee. Whatever. Not a big deal. I can work with this. I love how everyone else is sitting in one direction while Fiora's facing the opposite direction. Kind of funny. Alright. So, our next task is to find a way to the very top of this structure. But, getting up there is not going to be easy. Okay. What is attacking me? Of course, it's up there. How the hell did it have that kind of line of sight? Well, granted, it was on a very high structure. So I guess it makes sense how it's able to see us that easily. There we go.
We've definitely gotten stronger.
Okay.
Leave this fight to me. Try and catch me.
Prepare for a chain attack. Oh, let's do it. All right. Steel flash. What?
Come on, stop attacking. That way I can... Okay, that works. Goodbye. Nice. Gathering more gear for Fiora today. I feel like I'm getting better odds at getting some really good gear for Fiora in this playthrough versus my last one, for sure. Jesus. It's kind of surreal. Anyway, so for this one, we need to gather some materials in order to make ourselves some C4. Kind of. I would say it kind of is C4. And in order to get our hands on C4, we need to defeat certain enemies in order to get our hands on the materials. Which, it can be a bit of a pain if you're underleveled, for sure. But, it can, it'll still work out if So long as you plan your routing correctly, properly, etc., etc. Again, so long as you know what you're doing, you should be fine. And also, when it comes to fighting everything else around here, you don't need to worry so much about that. But, even so, be on your guard at all times. You never know what the enemy decides to throw at you next. Like that thing. Jesus. That is one big boy. A level 65 walking mobile fortress of sorts. Let's go. Get wrecked. Damn, Max Chain Talent Art. Definitely a very potent combination, for sure, and well worth your time. Let's see what we got over here. I think this lift, oh, this was where we came from. Oops. Oops, there goes the things I used to say. Okay. I kind of forgotten the rest of the lyrics, but you know what I'm talking about. Oh boy. Well, this scout really is trying to wreck our day. Damn, Shulk. At least in situations like that, at least the game doesn't soft lock. Instead, it just skips to the next party member. That was actually pretty scary. Kind of interesting to see how Shulk almost kicked the bucket there. Considering that he fell, plus he was running around in circles. Oh lord. It's kind of annoying that Shulk was not smart enough to climb the frickin' ramp again. Which was very annoying. Okay, all done. All done with that. Now then, let's see what's next. Wow, we're already at 3 hours, basically. Well, I definitely know where I'm going to be ending today's session, for sure. Like, once we get this C4 all gathered up and ready to go, that'll be a good point where I can end today's stream, for sure. Oh boy. Well, this is going to be kind of interesting, considering that the enemy's already spotted us on the ground above. Okay, let's fight you then. Well, that was kind of interesting. I think Fiora killed the other Mechon who was attacking us recently. But, at least the deed is done, so that's cool. Hello there, little boy. Let's go then. Okay. You may be wondering, what is the point of coming up here? Well, there's not really much of a point. All you have to worry about is just dealing with some enemies that are up above. Well, that sucked. Oh well. Needed to gather more of Shulk's talent gauge to execute the enchantment. Okay. That's one down, on to the next. Again, sometimes it's a good idea to execute a chain attack just so that we can get a quick emergency heal, or to quickly charge up the party gauge with certain moves. There we go. That's the last explosive we need to make ourselves a nice C4 sandwich. See what I did there? If you don't.
What? Baby brother?
Okay.
Be careful what you wish for.
Okay. Time to return to the lift. Wait, what? Okay, where the hell am I supposed to go then? Oh. Okay. I get it. Back to the control tower I go. Ah, damn. I was gonna try to sneak past this thing, but apparently that was not happening. There we go. Who's next? Not bad. Not bad for a chain attack. Oh dear. Another mass-produced face, eh? There we go. Everyone is dead. Thank God. Now then, it's time to make ourselves a nice, good old-fashioned C4 sandwich. I said this earlier, and I'm saying it again because we kind of need to make one of these things. And here we go. C4 sandwich complete. Oopsie. Alright. Boom. There we go. Finally done. That took quite a bit of time, but at least the deed is finally done. And now is a good time as any to call it a day here. And The reason why is we still have a bit of a ways to go before we reach the top of the Mechonis as of yet. And the second half of the journey is gonna be a bit of a long one. How long? You'll have to tune in next time to find out. So, with that in mind, folks, I bid you all adieu for today. This is General Snivy with the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition playthrough. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you were able to attend the live stream live, thank you for attending. Next time, we're going to continue our ascent up Mechonis and figure out why the hell that the Bionis even attacked the Mechonis in the first place. And we may even learn some nice history about this place as well. So, again, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. See you all later.